shown in the provided code, but we can infer it handles the database connection. So the lines import necessary Java classes for GUI components. Java.out.asterisk or Java.swing.asterisk and database interaction with Java.sql.asterisk. So the public class HomeView extends connections and declares the main class inheriting from the connection class. And as you can see, I use the private static JTable table. It declares a static variable table of type JTable to display the service data. And then I also use the private static default table model declares a static variable table model of type of default table model to manage the data in the JTable. So adding action listener to the buttons to handle users' interactions like adding, searching, loading, updating, and deleting services. And as you can see, I use the void load services. So this method fetches all the service data from the service database table and updates the G table to display this data. So as you can see, I also input object which is the JFrame frame equals new JFrame that creates the main window of the application with the title Nail Tech Shop Benjali Capilas. And I also input try catch is for handling potential runtime errors, especially those related to database operation in your code. And I already connect the database to the code. So I also input while is for repeatedly executing a block of code to process each row of data retrieved from the database. Because the while loop is a control flow statement that repeatedly executes a block of code as long as a specified condition is true. So we are now here to my connection class. So the primary function of this connection class is to establish a connection to a MySQL database. It encapsulates the logic needed to connect to the database using JDBC. So the import java.sql.connection represent a connection to a database. So there is also a public class connection. It defines a public class name connection. I also input the public static void main. It's because this is the main method of the connection class. So when you run this class directly, it will. You can use the string URL from your created SQL or your created database. And the string user, I input root. The public connection con declares a public instance variable con of type of connection. So in the system.out.println, I put not. If the connection fails, this line prints a failure message to console. And then the e.print stock trace. If an exception occurs, this line prints the stock trace to the console, providing details about the error. So this is my output of my code, and it is the Nail Tech Shop from Benjali Cabiles. So as you can see, you can put the service name, the price, and the duration. Also the add, the load, the delete, and the update services. There is also a search by ID, and you can also restart it. And that's all. Thank you.